thank you for listening to the Drums and Rums podcast. If you'd like to help support the podcast and our content on YouTube, become a Drums and Rums Patreon member, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel as we work to get towards 1,000 subscribers. Links are listed in the description of this episode. And thanks again for checking out this episode and all of our other past episodes. Now here's an opening track, Cut It, by the band BABYTEETH, that our guest Samantha Lubin performed with. Hey all, this is Paul from Drums and Rums with the Backbeats Meets the Spirits. Thanks again there. A little video of our guest who's on the podcast today there. So again, if you're listening in the audio format there, go over and check out the YouTube and vice versa. So again, let me tell you about our guest. So do you think you can hit like a girl? Well, our guest can. Podcast alum Paul E. of Paul E. Drums introduced me to our guest. So let me introduce our guest of the podcast, drummer, percussionist, teacher, Hit Like a Girl judge, and Paul E. Drums endorsed drummer for Samantha Lubin. So how you doing, Samantha? Thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Oh, hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great here. So I know we were just chatting there before we went live there on our time zone stuff that we were talking about where we're 5 hours. You're 5 hours ahead. I'm 5 hours behind. It is so hard to keep.
I know. Yeah, it's so difficult across all the seas and everything, but we do what we can, hey?
Oh, for sure. So I know I did a live stream earlier this morning, and some guy was in Paris, and then he's already drinking, and I'm like, I can't even. And then we had a time, and we actually talked about the time zone change, I think, before. Let me first, before we get really diving into it, I want to give a big shout out there. He's in the chat there. I want to give a big thanks to Paulie Drums there. He's in the chat there for connecting us there, past podcast alum, Paulie. So he's been great support of the podcast, and he's connected us with great guests. Yep. So big. I can never. I have trouble.
You have to lift your fingers up, make like a spider.
Here,
to do the heart.
So this is social media. This is social media gold here. So um, I always have trouble with my heart. So anyway, so let's get into it here. We're chatting here on a Sunday here with Samantha Lubin, and again, there's so much I know. Usually with the questionnaire that we send to all our guests, we get into what makes them tick, how they got into drums, all these things. The more I was going through, doing my homework, reading over the questionnaire that Samantha sent over, watching videos. So I've got lots of questions about the videos you sent me, and a lot of the drum stuff. So I guess we'll just jump right in here. It says, who introduced you to music?
I come from a very musical background. So my dad, he was one of the biggest distributors of music in the UK. And he used to sing in a band. And when I was 4, I just said to him, Dad, I want a drum kit for my birthday. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes, please, can I have a drum kit for my birthday? So he bought me a drum kit, and it kind of went from there, really. But I was surrounded by music growing up. We always had music playing in the house. My dad was like really kind of well connected in the kind of rock world. So yeah, he would take me to gigs all the time. I was really, really lucky to go to the gigs that I did while I was growing up. So yeah, it was kind of like thanks to my dad, really. And my mum worked in music too. My mum and dad actually met through work. My mum used to sell music calendars, and my dad actually brought them off of her. So yeah, I'm like that's kind of how like my whole kind of journey started, really, from my parents. So yeah.
So she sold. So that's before they met. She was selling the calendars.
Yeah, she was selling the music calendars. She was working at another distribution label.
Okay.
And then my dad would buy the calendars off of her, and then it kind of went from there, really. But
did he buy a lot of the calendar? Did he buy a lot of the calendars because he wanted to meet her, right? Or
Yeah, I think so. And I think that it was just like they were just a really good thing for him to sell. I mean, that was like back in the day when, people would have like those kind of calendars up in their houses and stuff. You don't really see that too much anymore now. So, yeah.
Yeah, all because of technology. We have phones and all electronics and so forth. Yeah. So, and I think you could see behind me on the wherever you see on the door there's a calendar actually. So I'm still a little bit old school, but. So,
what's on your calendar?
It's not even music related. It's actually.
Oh, okay.
So don't worry. It's not a pinup calendar or anything like that. So yeah. So I get. So what are we talking here? Like the 80s? And I don't want to kind of give away your age or anything, but I mean kind of roughly the time frame. We're talking the 70s, 80s. Again the scene London, the UK always has the scene that leads, over here and very influences here in the America, and so forth. Obviously, a lot of the Brit invasion that came over to the US in the 80s and so forth, a lot of that pop and synth. And, I could see a lot of that in some of the videos. You're very influenced in a lot of the, in very, very drumming style, not just kit playing, but a lot of other percussion. I definitely, because I'll ask. I'm going to jump right in and say, man, I've watched some of the videos that you do when you're playing the pad. Where'd you learn how to dance? You're a really good dancer. You're feeling the music. I see you moving. You got some moves there.
Yeah, I guess that's just from doing. So kind of like my main gigs at the moment are working. There's this kind of like whole movement going on at the moment called DJ Live, where I'm working with a lot of vocalists, sax players, violin players, and because of the level of like the singers that I'm working with, they're all the whole thing is kind of like choreographed, and it's all really, really slick and really professional. So I guess I've just taken a lot of it from them, really. Because I think obviously like your stage presence has to be kind of so on point now. You can't just really like stand there looking like you're miserable. You've got to really kind of like go for it. But yeah, no, I don't know. I've spent a lot of time in the Caribbean, so my dad lives out there now, so that might be some of that.
Okay.
You know, listening to all kinds of like soca and that kind of thing. But yeah, no, other than that, I haven't never had a dance lesson thing. It's probably just from going out with my mates and just like, you know, dancing on the dance floor
That's
after
right.
having too many rums.
Like, she's the only one that knows how to keep is rhythm with the music, and everyone else is all off. And you know, I had a DJ who was at some club here in South Florida, and I was sitting there, and he in eye distance he can see me, and I was like either tapping my foot or moving. He goes, yeah, you were. He goes, I was like, well, I play the drums, so he goes, oh, okay. So I'm like, there's always a tapping, or always, you know, whenever there's some sort of music, right? So it's and even in like that Hit Like a Girl video we just the introduction there was, I was glad to see towards the end, because it's been some other conversation with some of the other drummers. It's mostly the female drummers, because of course the guys are always gotta look serious and mean. I'm like, smile, right? There's always a whole thing, smile when you're playing the drums. And so but yeah, so let's get back in. So this is really interesting. So you obviously grew up in a music family, as you mentioned, and then you went to school at Paul McCartney's music school. That's kind of interesting. So
Yeah, so I did my training at LIPA, which is the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts, and I did 2 courses there. I did a diploma in popular music and sound technology, and then I went on to do a BA in music. And it was really, really difficult to get in, and they were really strict with us. There was like 3 drummers on my course, and it was amazing, like to go to uni in Liverpool and have that kind of training. And then when I graduated, I was presented with the Zildjian Prize, which they give to one drummer every year to like recognize their hard work and their dedication towards their instrument. And that kind of gave me a bit of a boost, kind of like when I graduated. But yeah, it was amazing. I met Paul twice, because I graduated twice. But if you chose songwriting, you actually were lucky enough to have like a songwriting session with him. But
wow,
I'm not a songwriter, so I didn't do that. There was too many amazing songwriters on my course. So yeah, it was great. It's amazing. I can only say like really amazing things about LIPA, and they've been so supportive since I've left. Like they featured me this year for International Women's Day as kind of like their graduate talent person, and they really keep in touch. And yeah, it's amazing. Really, really, really great place.
now it's good. So is that in London? The school?
No, it's in Liverpool.
Okay, makes sense. Okay,
yeah, so up north.
got it. Okay, so yeah, so the train, and then that takes you through what ages?
So I started there when I was 18, and I graduated when I was 22.
Okay.
Yeah, so the degree is about 3 years long. Well, the degree's 3 years, and then the course that I did before was a year. So I was there for 4 years.
Okay. No, that's pretty. Now, is it how did you get into? Because I'm sure that's kind of a bit prestigious to get into a school like that.
Yeah. So when I was applying for universities, that was one of the places that I chose. And actually, I'll be like completely honest and transparent. They actually rejected me the first time that I applied, and everywhere else gave me unconditional offers. So I was like, right, I'm going there. That's where I'm going. Like stubborn. I'm going there. So that's why I did my diploma for a year, and then I re-auditioned for the degree course, and they just basically said to me like, you've got a lot of potential but you're not ready for the degree yet. And they were right. Like I wasn't ready, so I went and did this really intense year, and then I reapplied, but they only took 2 of us from the diploma onto the degree course. It was like pretty brutal audition. But that's fine because it prepared me well for the industry, so
Right.
it's all good.
No, and that's kind of interesting. Is like you said, you're determined, right? You were
Yeah.
okay, and that's what you wanted, and you went back at it. Took the feedback, and said, all right, okay, take a little in, and then go back at it, and so good for you for not taking the second choice and sticking to your guns with your you know
Thank you. I
yeah.
feel like this is actually a bit of a thing for me because when I entered Hit Like a Girl the first year, I came third in the UK, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna redo that. I don't want to do that. And now like my journey has completely changed. So I feel like it's just my pattern.
Are you?
First
Yeah.
time you don't succeed, go again.
I try. I was going to ask you. So, nobody, you've never been called stubborn, have you?
Stubborn, demanding, all of the above. Yep, everything. But hey ho,
That's
got to be strong to survive in this industry, I think.
so the award there, the Zildjian Prize, and you said that as you mentioned, it was pretty, pretty uh, that's a pretty esteemed recognition there. Can you talk a little bit more about that kind of that award?
Yeah. So I got the award and it was presented to me, and then I was invited down to the Zildjian headquarters. And that was when I met Tina Clark, who has been like really, really kind to me over the years. She's been amazing. And then basically they just put me in the vault and said to me, you can try any kinds of cymbal that you like.
Wow.
And you're welcome to take a couple of different cymbals. So I got a really great ride. And I also got a crash that I took with me. And then we went out for lunch, and they invited another drummer to the lunch, a guy called Mark Pusey, who is currently on tour with Ed Sheeran. And then he actually gave me a few lessons after that. So that was amazing. And yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And what I thought was so what was it like to perform at the World Cup? Now, I'm sure you're a big football fan, right? And especially how well England did, right? I mean, they made into the quarters and so forth. But what was that like? And again, I'm being in Qatar, or I don't know, did we all of a sudden change how we say the name of the country in at least in English? It used to be always called Qatar or Qatar. I've heard it so many different ways now. It's weird. It's kind of the same thing. Like I don't want to get political, but like kind of like Kiev in Ukraine. We started saying it different now, but I guess there was a pronunciation. I know. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that road there. But yeah. So what was it like there and playing the World Cup, which is that's a hell of a thing to have on the resume, and enjoying that whole experience.
Yeah. So it was really amazing. I had a really great time. I was booked to be to perform as part of a band which was next to one of the stadiums. So we were the entertainment for the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, because they were quite strict with the alcohol intake, like in the stadiums. So if you wanted to go to a football game, if going to a football game, then you would come to the hotel before, and that was where you would kind of like pre-drink. So I was out there for 8 days, and every day was different because we had to kind of play around the match schedules. But yeah, it was amazing. I had a really, really great time. I felt very safe out there. It was a fantastic experience. I have I'd have nothing negative to say about it, apart from when I came back I got COVID.
Oh.
That was the only thing. So that was the only thing that was sad that happened. But yeah, it was fantastic. I had a really great time.
That's so what kind of performances were they? Was it like some of the opening ceremonies or just general?
No, we were just kind of the house band for the Ritz-Carlton. So it was just a DJ live setup.
Okay.
So I was
Okay.
just performing with a DJ sax player, and then we had a vocalist fly out. And then they kind of just like rotated the entertainment. I was only out there for 8 days, but some of the girls on my contract were out there for the full time. But I had to come back for other work that I had booked in.
Okay. So yeah, that's it's seeing some of that stuff. It seems like it's a very high energy. Like I said, the DJ percussion. There was another guest we had on, Reese Bridges. He was in the band Dirty Vegas, and there was some stuff he's done similarly where he was touring with a DJ and he was playing more. He was playing more of a full kit and with a DJ. And I'm like that's kind of that's really interesting and the picture I sent with you when I was played just recently at a gig, and the buddy of mine who's normally a soloist and sometimes he's billed as a duo, and occasionally he'll ask me to play with him, and he says it's a different. Normally he plays with another guitar player, like a lead player, and he says having the drums with him gives a totally different vibe and a different feel and a different because there's now normally his percussive is him slapping on his guitar looping it and or things like that, and it's like, well, yeah, I said, dude, this is where that's at. Nobody dances to guitars, people dance to drums, so so I can definitely
Definitely.
see how that there's very much like that, and there's a live aspect of it too, right? And that, which I think is a big thing rather than just nothing wrong with DJing, but still having live performance of instruments and so forth. So
I think it really lifts the music, and I think there's like this whole kind of movement towards this kind of vibe. And I know like before it wasn't very credible and kind of people kind of thought it was a bit like weird and cheesy and they didn't really get it. But now the whole thing is becoming like very, very classy and like, it's, it sounds really good, all the different rhythms and everything kind of coming together. So, yeah.
It reminds me of here in Palm Beach. There's some of these upper scale clubs and bars. They have a guy who's a violinist, and he'll play wired or wireless, and he's walking around and playing in the crowd and but with obviously backing music and the DJ, and which is kind of marrying the two things together. So, so the so what kind of configuration you currently got? Because I know, like I said, you got a couple different things. You're playing. Like I said, you've got your kit, you've got your pad, the octopad. You got some different percussion. I guess just start off with the kit, right? And so you mentioned you have that ride there, the Zildjian ride. How's your configuration normal setup?
So at the moment I am playing a Yamaha hip gig kit, our Foster series. You can probably see it like just behind me over here. And it's just one rack tom, one floor tom, 18-inch bass drum, 12 rack tom, 14-inch snare drum. And then my snares that I'm playing at the moment, I'm endorsed by a company called Primus Custom Drums. So I've got a couple of different snares on the go, but my kind of favorite one that I'm playing at the moment is my 14-inch snare, which is my stave ash snare. And then I've got my Zildjian setups, which are a mixture of K and A customs. So that's kind of it kit wise. It's kind of very like small and compact. And then percussion wise, I've got my Roland SPD SX, and then I've got a mixture of Natal percussion, minor LP, just kind of lots of different things going on. Oh, Paulie. I've got Paulie stuff on there, obviously.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of my setups really at the moment.
So you obviously like for gigging, just playing the pad because it's the simplest thing you have to lug around, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does make my life it does make my life easier.
Yeah.
Like years and years of slapping my drum kit up and down the motorway and everything. Doing the percussion gigs is a little bit easier on the body in terms of a load in and a load out.
Right.
But yeah, it's really great for flying with, because for a lot when I'm going abroad, a lot of the time you really like pray that everything that you're putting on your rider will get there, but you just kind of like you never know really. So
Right.
at least with this, you know that you're getting there and at least you can do something.
Right. Right. So no, that's yeah, and there's a lot to it. Is growing up for me obviously was more heavily influenced with rock, and until I got a little older, maybe a little bit more broader, and even when I went to Nashville in 2019 to do a drum workshop with Jim Riley, was just realization that country music is kind of a different approach to the musician. Right now, I wish I've learned this a little bit sooner. Was any advice is like musician first, band second. Right? If you want to be in this if you want to be this your whole life and career, don't try to go and join a band and and it's great to have a garage band, grow up as a kid and so forth, but take your craft and your instrument serious, and where you could have a life. You may not be, you may go from being on stadiums and on MTV and whatever, but when that kind of maybe goes by the wayside, you still could be an employed musician in studio and work and teaching or whatever. So it's always an important part and obviously that's what also what you're involved. You've got many irons in the fire. And one of the things is, and I'll come back to it, is it's like, because you also teach, right? So how do you do some of your teaching? Is it in person? I mean, I know COVID kind of threw everything off, but is it typically been in person or online now, or?
So it's a bit of both now. I still have some students that I teach online, but lots of it is in person from my studio. I actually got my studio during COVID because obviously when the world shut down and nobody had any work, I was like, right, okay, I've got to make something happen here. So I started teaching from my flat in London, and the neighbours were just like going ballistic because everybody was like working from home, and I was teaching from an unplugged electric drum kit, and it was just awful. So I actually applied for a emergency response grant from the National Lottery, and I got it, and that's how I managed to get my studio and get everything set up. And then when the world started to open up again, I've had students come here. So I've got about 10 private weekly students that come here every week. And then I've got a couple that I do online. And then I've most recently started working in a school in Barnet, which I love. And they have like a fantastic music department there. I'm working there with another drummer who's quite well known on the scene here in London, and the kids are amazing. The standard of the teaching is really, really, really high. So yeah, but as you were saying, you just got to have like multiple kind of things going on, because especially at the moment, there's just, it's very hard to try and make a regular income from one kind of stretch. You kind of got to be like a jack of all trades, and you got to kind of put yourself out there and be very flexible and adaptable and have things come up extremely last minute, and you have to be available to say yes and not say no to things, because you never know where it's going to go. Right. So yeah,
and I think that's something that again, that experience going to Nashville for the first time, December of 2019. So when the rest of the world it's slowly COVID lockdown, things are rolling, and and me, like I said, being first time, took it all in, loved it, seeing all the musicians, seeing all the music and different types of music, and bands are playing 4 hours here, running down to the next bar to play another 4 hours, and then even Jim Riley, that was a lot I took away from was this whole thing about musician first and then band second was here. I was thinking, and it's not a knock. It's just an observation of, again, things of not being aware of this type of music. Was thinking, I said, all right, here's a guy who's in the biggest country band in the world, and he's doing drum workshops on his off weekends when he's home. Okay, he writes books. A lot of guys write books. Now I know he has a music education degree and so forth, but he's also going to be teaching. He's playing pickup gigs, and I guess it's one of those. It's when you're love and you're into the music, you're going to do these many things. But that whole experience for me was that takeaway. Then fast forward, little did we know, COVID was going to change a lot of things for people, mostly financial. And for those that couldn't work or got sent home or furloughed or whatever, having one iron in the fire was pretty detrimental to them if they only had, and most people only have one income stream. And for the most part, that's how we're supposed to, go to school, get a job, and do et cetera. And then, this is how the world is. You just can't rely on it. And that kind of, and that was kind of a video you had on or I think it was on TikTok, was your five ways to make money as a musician, right? So for those that hadn't seen the TikTok, can you give the quick rundown of that video, or do you want me to tell people to go to see TikTok, watch the TikTok video?
No, that's okay. I've got to try and remember the 5 things that I said now.
Or if you want to paraphrase, loosely, that's fine too.
Let me think. Okay, so the 5 ways to make money as a musician. So I think the first one I said was playing live. And I was saying that if you're an original artist, so like, for example, obviously everybody wants to be in playing for the next big bands or be the drummer of I don't know, Royal Bloods or Arctic Monkeys or whatever. But the reality is that most of us aren't. So I said one of the really good ways to make money is to join a function band, because it's really good for your chops. You develop a really large repertoire for learning songs. You get to meet, I have met so many amazing people from doing functions over the years, and the standard of the musicians that I've worked with has just been, incredible. And all of these players are on top level gigs. So go out there and do some function work. You get paid a lot of money to play covers. It's fun.
Right.
The second thing I said was teaching. So there's many ways that you can teach. You can teach online, face-to-face, do workshops. You can also have Zoom calls with people who want to know more about your area of expertise. There might be some young musicians out there that need some advice. You could kind of give them an overview, for an hour, and give them some really good advice. The next thing I think I said was selling merchandise. So, for example, I've got a range of signature sticks because I'm endorsed by London Drumstick Company. So I've also got a range of sticks for my students. So if students come and have lessons with me, I encourage them to play my sticks so they can buy my sticks. But you might have T-shirts or physical merchandise, so sell them. What was the next one? I can remember what number 5 was, but I can't remember what the next one was. So let me just see if it comes to me. So one of the other things I said was registering your songs with PPL and PRS. So if you performed on a track, make sure you've got it registered with PPL, because you'll get paid for your plays. And, you don't really have to do much. You've done the work. Just get paid, get money into your bank account. Also, if you've had a songwriting credit on a song, make sure you register that with PRS so that you get paid for your plays. But yeah, the last one, I can't remember what it is. So you have to go and look at my TikTok to go and see what it is.
Are you keeping us in suspense, Samantha? Is that what it is?
No, I actually genuinely can't remember. I can't remember what I said. Dear.
That's great. So yeah, I think that's some great tips. Obviously, like you said, your experience, with the background, the gigs you playing, being around people, being around music, as you mentioned, growing up, you've seen a lot of things. It's probably been very good to actually have, people that is, like you said, your folks being in the music industry to kind of help steer certain directions or advice on, I think that's how the video starts off. Say, when you're starting out as a young musician, so many people are going to come at you, and it's going to be a little overwhelming, and to be very careful of, signing something that you don't understand or realize, and and unfortunately the youth, when we're young, and we don't want to be told what to do, and we're all know it all, and it's hard sometimes to listen to experience and wisdom of people that are older, right? As much as I hated it hearing when people said, my kids were younger, they're going to grow up so fast. It's so cliche and so forth. Then I look at it, thanks Facebook memories, how little my boys were, and then it's all of a sudden I have man boys and boy in my house. They're bigger than me and so forth. They're like, how did you get so big? What happened? And in time does go by. So it is when we're young. Let's sometimes just listen to people that are a little older than you. It's okay. You don't have to rebel too hard. We're just trying to look out for you, right? So I think is the point of it. So Samantha, you mentioned some of the endorsements that you had. You mentioned Paul E. So our good friend Paul E. there, one of your endorses, and also your Prima's your company. Who are a couple of the other endorsers or people that you're affiliated with?
So Primus custom drums for snare drums specifically. Paulie, he endorses me for percussion. London Drumstick Company for my sticks, and then I've got affiliations with Tuna Fish Lug Locks, a company called Moises AI, and Official Drumhead for merchandise. And I think that's everybody. Is that everybody? Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to get shouted at.
Yeah.
You forgot us.
You forgot.
You forgot us.
Let me see. Yeah, I think what you gave me London Drumstick Company, Primus Custom Drums, Tunerfish Lug Locks, Moises AI, which I that's an incredible app. Again, I don't know how many people, if they don't know about it, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Official Drumhead and Paulie hit drums. So again, that's the ones you've provided to me. So again, if you forgot anything, it's not my fault.
No, that's okay. At least we both cross-checked it. I've written it down as well.
We keep. That's right. We keep our stories straight. We're sticking to it. So we talked a little bit about the Hit Like a Girl. As you said, you tried out a couple times and came back and so forth. And was it last year your first entry into it, or previously?
So it was during COVID, during the pandemic, that I entered the first time, because again, COVID kind of gave me the space to be able to enter something like that. Before, it hadn't really crossed my mind because I had just been so busy with working and just playing all the time. So my first entry was 2021, and then I re-entered in 2022 because I wanted to do a bit better. And then after I came second, I started getting hit up by all these different companies. That's how I met Paul. And then I had a meeting with David online, and he said to me, we're going to be setting up a new project called Drumming Connects Us. Would you be interested in working on the project? And I said yes. So I've been working as the talent coordinator on Drumming Connects Us, and it's all about getting young drummers playing drums. We've got different influencers from all over the world, and all different continents, all different countries, and basically I coordinate everything for the project with David. And then I've just been doing bits of other work for Hit Like a Girl, some of which I can't really talk about yet until we've got it confirmed. But there's something very exciting.
No exclusive breaking news to give us.
No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid. But I went to the drum show in Paris representing Hit Like a Girl last year, which was amazing. I met some amazing people, saw some fantastic drummers, because that was the first time ever that they had 3 female drummers on the lineup. So it was quite like a big kind of movement. And a girl called Victoria Bialek, she was one of the players, and she had won Hit Like a Girl a couple of years previously. So obviously I went to support her and represent Hit Like a Girl. And yeah, this year I am judging part of the contest, the Moises part of the contest. So anybody that enters using Moises, I will be judging. And yeah, I just think it's such a fantastic platform. It's opened up so many avenues for me, especially more in like the business side of things, which is kind of an area that I'm branching into now slowly. So yeah, and the community is like so supportive. I think we all really get each other. And we really understand kind of like the things that we have to go through as women, and we're like really breaking down barriers and doing it all together. So yeah, I feel very kind of I feel really happy that there is something like this out there, and I'm super excited for all the younger drummers to be able to experience something like this, because when I was like 18, 19, you didn't really have social media. That was when kind of Facebook was just starting out.
Right.
So it was very hard to like kind of connect with people unless you actually met them face to face and did it all this way. Whereas now you've just got it all on your phone,
Right. It's just amazing to go back to trying to put a tape in or a CD or whatever it may be when trying to listen to and play and learn songs, or even going further back. There's always people with stories about playing to the record and putting the big cans on their ears, and it's just amazing to be able to listen to a track and strip out all the other music to kind of, sometimes it's hard to kind of pick up certain things, like how are they maybe doing that, or what is that sound maybe, or is there an extra kick, or a ghosted kick, or whatever the case may be, and vice versa with the app too, is getting rid of the drums, and if you wanted to play and to play a different track on it. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool app. I've checked it out a little bit. I haven't gotten too much into it, but yeah, that's the technology is. Remember, the robots are going to take over the world, right?
Yeah, but there's still something to be said about humans doing things.
That's
definitely,
right.
100%.
Right.
But yeah, no, Moises is fantastic. It's massively helped me with my workflow and in terms of like learning songs, as you say, because then you could like completely isolate the drums. You don't have to bother people by saying, "Could you send me the stems for the tracks?" Like
Right.
You can do that yourself. So you're saving other people's time as well as your own time.
Right.
And I also use it with my students as well. I mean, what better way to kind of like learn the drums or any instrument really. It's pretty wild what they're doing in that company. Yeah.
There is do you do any there was a company called, or a website called Air Gigs. Do you do anything like that where in the way that it works, and again, I have no affiliation or sponsorship or whatever to them. I just always think it's an interesting thing. Is I don't know what way to best describe it, but is so you have a account or profile, and here's who you are, and maybe somebody's looking for a drummer to play some tracks. They need drums to a track, and you put your rate out there, and then they send you the music, and then whatever the agreement is, and since now everyone pretty much has home studios, they can record certain things. So I mean, it's a good way to make some passive income. If you're a pretty good drummer that can fill in a need for somebody else, again, because there's a lot of guitarists and vocalists who are sitting there making music on their own, but they don't have a full band, but they've got some other creativity. So I don't know if you've ever heard of something like that.
No, but I will look into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds a bit like Patreon.
Not necessarily. It's something that is where they come to you, like it's like you have your profile out there, and say, Samantha Lubin, here's my credentials, blah, blah, blah. Here's how much I charge per hour. Here's this type of music I can play. I can read music, whatever, whatever. And let's say I'm a singer soloist, and I want drums to produce a full track. I say, here you go, Sam. Here's my tracks. Put some drums to it, and then you come up with the drum parts to it, and so on and so forth. You send it back. Somebody obviously probably mixes it and masters it, and then you make whatever the money is per hour that it takes you. So
amazing. I'll definitely look into it.
Yeah,
that can be one of my 5 ways to make money as a musician. Six ways. Yeah. We can have endless ways. We'd be like hundreds of them. Bang, 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 bang,
infinity
bang, bang.
ways.
Absolutely. Just got to think out the box.
That's right. So, now, so again, you're talking about the disco pop stuff that you're doing, your main gigs that you're doing. So, I know you sent over some videos here, and I didn't want to talk about it because I thought it was great, and I'm not going to be able to probably pop it on the screen here, but we'll talk about it and try to get people to go check it out. So let's talk about BABYTEETH. Okay, interesting name. Okay, so I'll four girls, right? So, how did you all find
4 girls and 1 boy?
I noticed
he was just not in. Yeah, he just wasn't in that video that I sent you because that was for a clothing brand.
That's exactly what I thought. It's like, what happened to the guy? I said, is the guy in the band? Is he not in the band? There's so many questions here. There's a guy there's a guy that's in the most poofiest video, but not in the hard rockin' video of that you did, the 2 videos that you sent me. So yeah, so talk a little bit about that. I know you mentioned, not to jump ahead to the story, but I know you said that COVID kind of put that on ice and kind of you guys went away. But I think that it had a great edgy sound. 4 girls that are playing music. I think it was great, as we mentioned a little before, was great 90s sound. And it's not all froofy, but it's a bit gritty. And anyway, so yeah, let me talk about it. I know it's not your current project, but maybe somebody's going to listen to this podcast and they're going to want to learn more, and maybe BABYTEETH gets reignited. I don't know. Maybe weirder things have happened, right?
Yeah, they have. So basically that band was kind of with my 4 closest friends. We're all super, super, super close still. And we had some amazing gigs. We were represented by CAA, and we supported As a Man at the Roundhouse. We recorded in some like fantastic places, Assault and Battery. We had like an amazing run. But yeah, sadly, COVID kind of killed us off. But yeah, our music is still up online. So if you want to check us out, the band's, it's just BABYTEETH Band. And I think we just chose that name because we thought at one point we would all fall out, but we never did, and we haven't. So yeah, and then our EP that we released, it was called Knock Yourself Out, and we actually named that after we were shooting a music video to the song Cut It. And I don't know if you noticed, but in the video you can't really see me very much, and that's because during the video shoot I actually fainted and smashed my head against the concrete wall and blacked out on a concrete floor, and then I had a little bleeds like here. I had like a hematoma in my head, so that's why you kind of can't really see me too much in the video, because that was awful having that head injury. It was really, really bad. I had to like relearn to play the drums pretty much. Yeah, it was really bad. That's another one of my videos, practice tips, and it's how to practice, because I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. I've like had to relearn how to play the drums and stuff, but I'm all good now. So yeah, anyway.
Holy cow, wow.
Yeah, that was why we called the album Knock Yourself Out, really. Because I actually did knock myself out and I had to go to hospital, and it was just anyway.
Oh, British humor.
Yeah. It's all good.
Oh yeah. So the the other video there, obviously, as I noticed, I was with the little video post that I put out there the other day, which you playing a couple different clips. I said I can't get anything off of that video because everything was a quick cut scene, and I couldn't get a good shot of you in the video for that one. But all the other videos was good. So now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. So
yeah.
yes. But
it's like in the back with 2 black eyes and my hair all over my face, like. Oh.
So what other project do you have going on right now?
So currently at the moment I'm trying to keep myself very free until the right thing kind of comes along. I've been saying no to things that I haven't wanted to do because I'm really feeling that hopefully the next thing that I'm going to be doing is just around the corner, but I'm just trying to keep myself kind of as available as possible for the project, really.
Okay.
Being brave.
All right. All right. Well, we've come to that part in the show. And again, I know you're a fan, so you know what's probably coming up here. So here we go. We're going to play our little segment here of...
Oh, God, what are we doing?
Can you answer in 4 beats or less?
All right. So we're going to go in here. That's in our four sips, or sorry, forgot the wrong guest I've got here. Usually the rum guest gets the 4 sips. You get the 4 beats or less. That's obviously what the metronome was for. So,
okay.
All right. So this is the rapid fire questions here. Don't overthink it here. Okay. So in 4 beats or less, who's on your Mount Rushmore of drummers?
Who's on my what?
Mount Rushmore. Okay, so sorry, I'm giving you an American reference here. I forget. I'm stupid Americans always think that they're in charge of the world and all these things. Sorry,
that's okay.
Okay, so Mount Rushmore is this big mountain, and they carved the 4 presidents, or 4 figures like Washington and Lincoln, and it's like a monument.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
Got
So
you.
yeah. So I know I forget. Sorry, about the reference to some that may not understand what Mount Rushmore is, but yeah. So there's four faces, 4 figures on that mountain that they carved in there. Who would be your drummers that are on that mountain?
Okay, so Charlie Watts, John Bonham, Sarah Jones, and Nicky Gillespie.
Okay. All right. So, question number 2. And you can thank your good friend Paulie for this one. This is part of the fun of once you become an alum and you refer a guest or introduce a guest onto the podcast, you get a shot at actually asking a question to the person you brought on. So Kira had a great question. I don't know if you know Nicky Moon. Nicky Moon was on. He's a cymbal maker. And so she hit him up with a question. And as soon as I said the question, he knew exactly who gave me that question. So which was actually funny. So anyway, so in four man, I'm on the wrong show here. So in 4 beats or less, we'll figure this out in a second. In 4 beats or less, who's your top 4 drummer influences?
Oh, God, probably all the ones that I've just mentioned, but I'm going to add on another one. I'm going to say John Blackwell.
Okay. All right. So question number 3 here in 4 beats or less. This is a reference to something we just talked about. Do you still have the pink dress?
Do I still have the pink dress? It went in the bin.
Now,
it went in the bin.
So again, if you're not familiar what we're referring to here in the pink dress, you have to go check out the Baby Teeth video there. Search on YouTube there. You'll see what we're talking about as far as the pink dress. So we're not going to give away too much of it, but yeah. So go see go watch the video. You'll get the gist of it. All right, and then the last one here is in 4 beats or less. What empowers you?
Okay, so I guess what empowers me, definitely the drums. I would say my mum empowers me. She's amazing. My friends empower me. And I guess, doing nice things like this and meeting amazing people like you and having lots of support from people. That empowers me too.
All right, excellent, a great answer. No, that's great. No, you've got a great energy, Samantha. You're very, your personality. I mean, again, we've only really met, but I could tell you're, very, very down to earth and very, like I said, I did see smile, like I said, when you were playing, which is good, right? We should be having fun when we're playing drums, not mad and look. I call it what I tell a guest when they're like got that real serious look or that mean face look. It's called resting drummer face.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yes,
it's because we're trying to think. Yes, it's not because we're mad or whatever. It's like we're trying to concentrate, we're trying to think and try to keep together. Don't forget to breathe and all these things that we're all trying to do here. So, so too much. So I want to thank you and welcome to the alum here. So yes, you've gone through the pain of, where's the camera? There you go. So the pain of going through the rapid fire questions. And now you're part of, as we call the alum, the Drums and Rums alum. So if there's anything, we can do, again, it's about promoting, whether it's drummers, and again, I know have an alcohol reference on it, but again, it's tying two things together. As I always say, Sam, is right. How can you not, enjoy music and then have a cocktail responsibly? And, the two things go hand in hand together. And especially drums are the one that drives people to shake their ass, right? I hate, no offense to the banjo player or the harmonica player or even the guitar players. Okay, let's be real here. This is the drums, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's got to be. It's the thing that makes you dance.
Yeah,
it's the thing that always makes you dance.
For sure. Yeah. So as we're kind of wrapping up. So what do you got to hit up here as far as things that you want to kind of recognize, shout out, plug, promote, whatever. Here's the shameless promotion part of the podcast that you try to get people to check out and what you got going on.
Yeah, so if you want to connect with me and see everything that I'm up to, then you can follow me on all my social media channels. If you go to my Instagram, which is just at Samantha_Lubin, that will give you a link to my link tree that's in my bio, and then you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. My website is samanthalubin.co.uk. So yeah, and I'm regularly posting on my social media everything that I'm up to. And yeah, I try and respond to all the nice messages that I get. All the nasty messages that I get, they go straight in the bin, but I don't get too many of them, so that's all right. But yeah, so keep in touch, and that's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and big thanks again to Paulie for connecting us here. It's really great. And again, Samantha, if there's anything with the project you're working on there, the new project, if there's a great way to want to get some guests on or feature some of your artists that you're working on for the new project, feel free. I think it's a great way if those that are interested. And I always say, look, it's an hour out of somebody's time to get an opportunity to have a chat and share, and you can never promote too much. I'd say, right? The opportunity to kind of get your message out there or your brand out there or whatever you're involved in. So let's definitely stay in touch. I know we will.
Sure.
So it was definitely a pleasure talking with you today. So I'd like to thank Samantha for coming on the podcast and talking about drums and music, and again, Paulie for connecting us with Samantha. And let's check out the Drums and Rums podcast. Give it a like, follow. Lots of other great episodes that are out there. It is important that you do rate the podcast. Give us a rating. Give us a review as well, because that is stuff. Unfortunately, likes and views and subscribers, it is a thing that people do look at when you're trying to advertise or sponsor or as far as monetization. That is a big thing. Follow us on same thing on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube page. It's a big one we're trying to push to get to 1,000. And our website, drumsandrums.com. And man, I got to stop drinking the bong water. And I want to thank you all and have a great day. This is Paul with the Backbeats Meets Spirits. Cheers, y'all.
Take care. Thank you.